but not least, well, actually, last, our candidate for president is Germaine.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Germaine Ancheta, and I'm running to be the president of the Filipino American Student Association at the University of Washington for the 2014-2015 school year. Today, I want to talk about my experiences in FASA, why I'm running for president, and my plans for next year as president. So first, my experiences with FASA. During my first couple of years at UW, I was an active FASA member. I went to most of the general meetings, danced in Sayaw, was involved in Filipino night, and went to other events. I really liked how FASA did a lot of activities. In this past year, I served as vice president for FASA. I learned a lot about myself as a leader, and it's something that I am still developing. Working in an officer group with 13 members was definitely a challenge. As vice president, I was in charge of FASA internally and supported the officers in their needs and in their events. I learned how important it is for someone to take charge when no one knew what was going on. I also learned how important it is to think about something through multiple angles. Much of these lessons came from me observing the other officers and learning from them. So now, why am I running for president? To be honest, I was having trouble deciding if I wanted to be a FASA officer again. I was debating whether I should become involved in other activities my senior year, like focusing on my major and building work experience. But my heart was telling me, yes, you should run. You love this organization. You love FASA. You're going to miss it if you're not going to be a FASA officer. But my brain was like, maybe you should do something else that's going to help you with your work experience in the future. Obviously, my heart won and I'm here. But why? I love FASA. It has become a part of me and it's something I do not want to let go. FASA gives members opportunities that teaches lessons that can't be taught in classrooms. I've learned how to be a leader. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned about issues people who look like me face, and I learned a lot about my culture. I decided to run for president next year because I want to continue to work, learn, and inspire through an organization that has given me so much during my time here at UW as a student. I came into FASA my freshman year looking for a place that I could belong to. Throughout my freshman year, I found that place in FASA. I found a home. I found a tahanan. I found a home. My second year here, I learned what it meant to be a Filipino. Pinoy sa puso, in the heart. Sa isip, in the mind. Sa salita, in what you say, and sa gawa, in what you do. I learned the history of Filipinos in Seattle that I had no idea that occurred. And this past year, we built on all these ideas and continued building a community and family with one another. We were able to plan events that brought communities together. It's these experiences I had so far as an undergraduate here that I want to continue to share with other students looking for a home, looking for an identity, and looking for a community and family to call their own. I'm really excited for what we can come up with as an officer group next year to inspire members and make a difference in our community. Some of my plans for FASA next year are to continue events that were successful this past year and to reach out to more Filipinos in the UW community. I know there are people here that do not know FASA exists. With my officer group, I want to find them and open them up to what FASA has to offer, and in turn change and open their mind to what they can learn. Another thing I want to do as president next year is to utilize summer. Summer is about a 3-month time period when many of us won't be taking classes and we'll have more time to spend on FASA. I plan on using this time to get to know my FASA officer group, to get to know the members of the community that I don't already know, to learn about the history of FASA and more about the community, and plan out the year and the foundations for FASA's big events. As president, I want to show members the fresh faces and the ones that come and have been here a while, that they can find their home, their tahanan with FASA, that they can learn more about their identity, whether they are Filipino or not with FASA, that they can be a community and a familia, a family with FASA. There's so much FASA can do, and I want to continue sharing with everyone what FASA has been doing since 1917. Thank you for this opportunity to run for president next year. I understand the importance of this position. I will do my best of my ability to uphold what FASA stands for as president.
One second.
Oh, just kidding.
All right, go ahead.
Define to me accountability and what parts of FASA are you accountable for?
Accountability is making sure that you do what you say, and make sure that you're doing what you're responsible for. And what was the second part?
And what parts of FASA are you accountable for?
I feel that I'm very, as president, I'd be very accountable for what my officers do in their events and FASA's image. Mark?
What is your personal leadership philosophy, and how does that translate into the way you want to run FASA?
Okay, so one of my leadership philosophies is to lead by example. I think that as a head of an organization, a lot of the officers will see how you run things and see you set the standard. And if you are slacking, then they're going to be like, oh, it's okay to be like that because the president's doing that. So I think it's important to stay on top of your leadership and make sure that you're setting a good example for the officers and the members in the community.
Follow up. How does your leadership philosophy translate into engaging more members within FASA?
Can you say that again?
How does your leadership philosophy translate into engaging more members of FASA?
Oh, okay. So leading by example, how that would translate.
Getting more people involved.
Okay, so to get more people involved, I would have to reach out to people, and if they see that I'm doing that, I hope that the other officers will do that as well, and that way, when they reach out to those people, they'll come to FASA meetings and get more involved with the organization. Right.
Earlier you mentioned that that you're a developing leader and that you learned off of the 13 officers on how to present yourself and create your leadership style. But now that you're the president, you're the front runner, like hard-charging leader of the organization. With
not the president yet.
I'm saying, sorry. Well, you're going to be the president, but with no example to look to because no other, like, the officers are below you in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
What example are you going to look towards now that you are at the front, leading by example?
That's a good question. The leaders that I would be looking through won't be a FASA officer since I would be the head, but I've learned a lot from you guys still, so I'd be using those skills that I've learned as a officer this year and use that to lead by example. Does that make sense? Okay. JR?
Right now, P&I is upshifting, meaning that the offices are actually growing. How is that a strength and weakness as a incoming possible president for FASA?
I think it's a strength that P&I has grown because it's something that I have been involved with for a couple years now, and I've been involved in that growth. So that strength from that I can translate to FASA's growth. Also, a weakness would be like since it is growing, it would seem that I'd have to be more involved in P&I too because to perpetuate the growth. My sisters already know that I'm running for president, and I've chosen not to be an exec member of FASA. I'm gonna be like a chair for the officer positions. I'm not gonna be an executive board member. So I'll still be an active audit, but I am letting the other sisters lead.
Many times, FASA has interests that conflict with the surrounding community's interests. A lot of alumni have certain opinions about FASA. A lot of community leaders have opinions about FASA, and a lot of things that FASA does sometimes conflicts to what the alumni or the surrounding community has interest in. What are you going to do to address some of those conflicts?
Right now, I don't really know what the alumni think about what we're doing, so I would want to find out about that and see, like, open the conversation to how we can balance what the officers want, what the members want, and what the alumni want, because all of those people have been an integral part of FASA's growth, and I want to keep that conversation going. There.
So, I mean, you know, the reason that everybody's here at UW is to go to school, not as much as to join FASA and whatnot. I mean, that's probably secondary to a lot of people. So when your workload, your school load gets a little heavy, right? And there's gonna be a time that you're not gonna be able to attend meetings for, let's say, for a whole quarter. And it has happened before.
Meetings like FASA meetings?
Yeah, FASA meetings, that you're not unable to attend FASA meetings for, let's say, for a whole quarter. You can't. FASA meetings and your officer meetings, right? Well, what's your plan? If those things start like hitting the fan and you're all stressed out, you gotta deal with the drama, you gotta deal with, you know, with your family life and your personal life and things like that. What's your plan to stay afloat and to be sane?
Okay. So, I feel like I'm very good at balancing my academics and extracurricular activities. I've been doing it like since high school. I never put FASA in before my academics. Like, I've kept really good grades, dean's listing most of my college career so far, and I do activities that I know aren't going to conflict on Monday nights when FASA meetings are, and Thursday evenings when the general meetings are usually. So I've blocked those times during my schedule for FASA. So, and if like I have a study thing that I have that are during those times, of course I'm going to go to the my thing for my school because that's more important. And I know that the FASA officers are understanding that school's first, so they can pull up the slack while I'm gone, because they can lead. I'm pretty sure they can lead without me there.
Even if it's for a whole quarter?
For a whole quarter.
It has happened before.
I don't have any plans for having some kind of school activity, a school class-related activity to be during those times for next year. But if it were to happen, I would heavily rely on my FASA officers to lead while I'm there. I would rely on the exec board to know what's going on so they can run the show while I'm not there. And I would stay in constant communication with everybody. Right.
A common thing that went around our officer group this year was that there's a rebuild year in the sense that there's 12 of us that came on the board completely fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought there was like more of a generation switch for the organization. Do you feel that this like generation gap can be positive or negative for the organization?
I don't see it as a negative thing. I think that it's something that close that gap would be more communication between past officers, past alumni, to bridge that.
So there's gonna be some stuff you guys are gonna be split, and you're either deciding, right?
Mhm.
How do you make that decision? And how do you explain the decision?
Okay, I would definitely look at both sides and see what I believe is the best for the organization, and to follow what FASA's values are and what it stands for. So I would hope that they would trust my judgment as the final decider in what's best for the organization and live with it. Was there a second part to your
Yeah,
question?
what's the best for the organization? What is the standard, or what is how do I know if that's the best decision?
It is subjective, but is the best. I understand that. So I would really have to think about my decision, not just think about what I want. It's not about what I personally want. It's about what I think the members and the community would best benefit.
And that concludes our Q&A.
That also concludes the elections speeches. Just another reminder.